I'm Susan Murie. I'm an artist and a teacher here at Shepherd Maudsleigh Studio.
And you do these monumental cyanotypes. How did you get started with cyanotype?
I was looking to do something new. I've been a photographer for a really long time, and I saw in a cooking magazine or food magazine pictures of this restaurant that had a lot of small cyanotypes up on the wall, like a huge mosaic. And I thought that looked really cool. I wanted to try it. So I just tried it. It's about 18 years ago. And I really liked it. It was very intriguing and it just kind of you on. And I just sort of kept going with it.
Are those on paper?
Yeah, it looks like fabric, doesn't it? It's a Japanese paper. I forget the name of it, but it has a texture to it. It also comes in a lot of different colors. I wanted to try it. I wanted to try something different for a background color than white.
Because cyanotype, you're committed to that color.
You're committed to blue. There's ways to change it. We can even talk about that. Essentially, it is a blue, medium. And I want to just try a different color paper. And this does come in different colors as well as that incredible texture.
Well, it makes it greenish and little bits of muted Naples yellow.
One paper was a green. The other one was a different kind of green, actually, but it turned sort of yellowish. I'll show you, I have an orange piece, and I have a lilac piece of paper. And it comes in lots of different colors like that.
So the paper can really shift the color scheme.
So the paper's over here. And here it is, and it's
whoa! It's so saturated.
In its pristine state. And so I'm going to try this orange. I think it'll be really fun. And go touch it. It's actually very strong also.
It's so textured.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's very strong even when wet, which is a real bonus because sometimes the experimental papers that aren't watercolor papers, if they get wet, they get really fragile. This one's holds up really well. I moved in here in February this year. I came from more of a traditional studio with a door and ceiling. So it was a bit of a adjustment for me, but I do love it here.
They're all hung up on clothing racks.
Yes. Well, they're too big to put in a flat file that I can fit in here. And also it's more affordable. So I just went to Target and I got this garment rack and all these different hangers. And that's what I use to keep them nice and flat.
You have to do a lot of research to find the right supplies on this scale.
Often for me, it's about budget. A really large flat file that would house
this
size.
Big flat file.
It's so expensive,
No way.
And also you need the space. I have one flat file, not for this size. And vertical does save space also. So I was like, okay, what can I do vertically? And I was like, oh, well, I can hang them up. My studio used to be in my bedroom. I was already using those coat hangers.
You put it in your closet to hang cyanotypes? These are on paper, but I'm also noticing you have this one, which is fabric. What kind of fabric is that?
It's silk. Silk charmeuse. I like to try different materials. There's a company called CYANOTYPES store, and they make pre-coated silk.
Pre-coated silk? What does that mean?
So I didn't have to coat this with the solution. It comes already with the sensitized solution on it. Makes it much easier because this absorbs so much solution that it's really messy to do and really unwieldy. It's incredible.
I'm nestled within this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I see drawers. What's inside them?
So I just repurposed an old dresser. In here is just spray paint. I use spray paint in my work. I use a lot of paints and spray paint.
Wait, what's the spray paint for?
To add color. This is just a very blue medium, which is beautiful, but sometimes I want to do more to a piece. And I can show you an example. Like this has spray paint on it. You can see here and over here.
Beautiful atmospheric quality to that.
Spray paint's so versatile.
And it really sinks into the cyanotype. I almost didn't notice that it was another material.
Yeah. This is a little dish that I used when I paint with ink. I use a metallic ink, gold ink. Now this is all ink on here.
That gold. Beautiful against the blue.
And some more solution. Ready to...
That's what you use to process?
Yes, this is the solution. It comes in 2 bottles. It comes dry. They measure out the powders and you just add water. Well, you don't want to ingest it, but it doesn't have any fumes. If you get it on your skin, it's not going to hurt you. So other artists might organize their negatives like really nicely, like in protective plastic bags and everything, and store them away, but I don't work that way. I put them all into one box. I sort of use it as my Pandora's box.
I'm opening Pandora's box?
Yes.
Yikes.
It's...
Oh my gosh. Look at how beautiful that is.
This is how I work. Oh yeah, it has a rabbit.
Is that acetate?
It is an acetate. It's a special inkjet film for your printer to print out on on an acetate. So I go in here and I pull out images that I like that day. But I just sort of go through and see what appeals to me in that moment. So that kind of gives that spontaneity that I really like. I have a series of portraits of people in coats.
I don't know anybody who works this big for cyanotype, so why are you working on this scale?
I like the immersive quality and almost like if you could walk into it. I guess that comes from my theater background. It's like a theater set in a way. Like I really love that quality, the immersion.
But isn't that 10 times the work?
I find smaller is harder. To get the impact that you get with these on the smaller stuff, I find it more challenging. The thing I find the most sort of tedious is cutting out the negatives. I'm not into the cutting, but I got to do it. But putting it together is really fun for me. Like this was like, what do I like today and how am I going to put this together?
That's the composition process.
It is. And it's like immediate and not planned out so much.
That one is on wood?
I cut out a cyanotype that's on this like tissue-like paper that I can show you. It's called Gompi paper.
That's Gompi?
It is Gompi. It's a very translucent Gompi.
I love it because it's like an object.
Yeah, I like that too. I like to make more objects.
I need to know what this is.
So it's cyanotype on glass. And I'm teaching myself how to do it. We're teaching ourselves here how to do this. It involves gelatin as well as cyanotype solution. This is actually wasn't what I set out to make. It's actually would be considered a failure. It's cool. It kind of gave me some ideas about the possibilities with this. Degraded areas really kind of cool. But you basically, you want it to stick to the glass or porcelain or whatever you're using that's not porous, and you have to use the gelatin in the mix to do that. So this is to print out those acetate negatives. This is the sheet here. It's a coated acetate. It's got a coating on one side that grips the ink.
It's made for cyanotype?
They're used for lots of different things. You got to make sure you get the right side in, though, because the other side's just glossy, and so the ink will just go. Technical term. This is a Canon Pixma 100. It's a workhorse. It's fantastic. It has 8 cartridges in there. The most expensive part. The printer itself was not bad.
You have a lot of painting supplies in here.
I'm not trained as a painter, though. That's for sure. I use a lot of watercolor. It's so forgiving. This piece has Copic markers. I love the bright colors.
It seems like cyanotype is, for you, mixed media.
It really is. It has become that, for sure. I started adding color, I don't know, several years ago. My pigment, this is ultramarine. What a great blue. And I use this straight out of the container and rub it in like pastel. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. Unison Color, I think from Britain. They're handmade. Really nice. I'm loving green right now. Sometimes I want to create something subtle, and sometimes I want to create something with like more visual impact with color.
How did you get that gorgeous transparent effect.
It's layering the negatives. It's also underexposed. I don't think I can use it or show it. Then I decided to, and I do this a lot, decide to do something else with it. So I decided to tone it. And toning is adding anything with tannin, coffee, tea. You could do wine if you wanted to. And anything that's got tannin in it, and it reacts to the cyanotype solution that's on there that's been dried and turns it black, brown, eggplant color.
This is coffee and tea?
This one is coffee.
Is that the brownish color?
Yeah, I brush it on the areas I want to tone. So creating depth in the prints, like I described, is really just applying like photography principles, depth of field, but you're like creating it in the print rather than in the camera.